Good morning, SA12. So I had went ahead and planted some daisies back here. I can't seem to find them. Maybe you could help me. So I was looking all over the ground. Lots of times they're like a nice, pretty flower. It's a yellow center with white on the petals. It's got to be over here somewhere. It was a very small one. I just seemed to plant. Oh, here it is. Oh, look at that flower. It's just about to pop. I knew it. Wait a minute, what's this? What's that? That's a Nintendo Switch. I just found this laying around. Did somebody drop this? Wow. What should I do with this? Should I keep it? Should I find out who it belongs to? I don't know what I should do. I've never been put in a situation like this before. This happens to be a very difficult decision. Well, you know what? I know I always talk to you guys about doing the right decision all the time, even if nobody's watching you, even if nobody's around. And that's a pretty important deal. Brings me to my situation here. The story of the week is called A Difficult Decision. And something very similar happens to the characters in the story. I'm going to tell you about it, okay? The title of the story is A Difficult Decision. And the essential question is, what does a good citizen do? Well, good citizens, I always think about, there's two types of citizens that walk past my grass in the front yard. Good citizens and bad citizens. There's a good citizen who walks past with their dog in the street. And then when he gets to this wood area, he lets the dog go to the bathroom. And then he picks up what the dog drops, whatever the dog gets rid of, gets out of his body. We learned about the large intestine, letting go of that. They clean up after themselves, and then they put it in a garbage pail. That's a good citizen. Then there's that other type of citizen. It's a woman with a Mets hat. I like the Mets, but she walks past my house with her tiny dog and lets him do pee on my mailbox. Now I have ivy plants around, pretty flowers and stuff that I put around the mailbox, and they don't think about how other people feel. All my neighbors don't like this person who lets their dog pee, but the important part is, be the change, okay? You want to be a good citizen, you want to help your community, help people, respect people. Don't let your dog go to the bathroom on somebody else's yard or property or grass. And that's what I think about when it comes to being a good citizen. Litter bugs are not good citizens. People that throw their trash in the garbage pail are good citizens. People that help others. People that show people respect and have tolerance and are kind and understand where some people might have come from. That's all about good people. But today we're talking about a difficult decision. What would you do if you saw a Nintendo Switch laying in the grass? Would you keep it, or would you figure out what you should do with it? I'm not going to tell you what the boy in the story does with it, but this same thing happens to him. Two characters in the story. Their names are Paul and Wyatt. I want you to try to figure out who's Paul and who's Wyatt. Let's get started. In This Week in ELA, we will be talking about points of view. There's two friends here, two boys in the story. One of them thinks that the boy shouldn't keep it, and the other one says, well, I found it. And I once heard someone say, finders keepers, losers weepers, meaning if you lose something, anyone can find it and keep it. But is that the right thing to do all the time? No. And I know if I'm in McDonald's and I see $1 on the floor, I'm going to look up from that dollar. And if there's a man or a woman standing next to the dollar, I'm not just going to be sneaky and take it. I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm going to say, hey, did you drop something? Sometimes people will say, no, I didn't. And they'll be honest, and I'll say, okay, then maybe I can keep the dollar. If no one else is around, then it's a different story. But it's really important to do the right thing if you ever find money, and that goes for grown-ups. If I found a bag of money, or if I found someone's wallet, sometimes in the wallet it'll have the person's name and phone number or address, and you can contact them. How do you think that person would feel that lost the wallet after getting it back? They would probably feel so happy to get all those things back. And there's things in your wallet that are really hard to get. I'm not talking about a library card. I'm talking about a driver's license. going to motor vehicle and a special place that gives you them, gives you permission to have one. Well, it's not it's very difficult to get one. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about points of view. Two different boys have two different opinions. There's Wyatt and Paul. And let's see what happens here. My best friend Paul and I were excited to go to a new park. The park had a fort. Kids chose what kind of equipment to build at the park. The fort got the most votes. Mom and I met Paul and his dad at the park after school. Paul and I raced to the top of the tower. I win! I'm the champion, I shouted. Look, Paul, someone left a game master here. The game master is mine now. Wyatt, you cannot keep the game master, Paul said. You have a responsibility to return the game. It is your duty as a good citizen. I have rights, I said. I found the game, so I'm keeping it. That's the first page of the story we're going to be speaking about today. And if you want to reread it and go back, look in that Nearpod. The Nearpod will have your teacher reading it again. I read a little bit slower, too. But so what should he do? His friends say it's not the right thing. A good citizen would find it that give information to people so they can find out whose it is and get it back. And people lose cell phones, people lose money, people lose wallet, people lose pocketbooks, people leave them places and they go back to look for them and they really hope in their heart that people do the right thing when somebody loses something. If you ever lose something, think about what it feels like when you find it or when someone hands it to you and says, I found it, it's going to be okay. You feel pretty good about it. Well, I want you to think of the point of view or what the person is thinking that found it, and then what the person is thinking that got it back, if he decides to give it back. These are the points of view we're going to be talking about. People think different feelings. Everyone has a right to feel this a certain way. Some people might feel like giving this back is the best thing to do, and you'll feel good about it. You won't feel yucky inside. But that person that does hold on to this and says, I'm going to keep it, and then tries to play the games, they're not going to feel that good. And not having that good feeling inside is it's a really yucky feeling. And you're always kind of worried and nervous. You don't want to feel like that. You want to go to bed, take a deep breath, and say, you know what? I did the right thing. I did the best I could do. I tried to help someone. Adios, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Signing off. Happy Monday. See you on Tuesday.